Hey everybody, it's Maranatha here, and I wanted to encourage you all today to have a community. And if you don't have a community, look for a community, pray for a community, ask God for a community, because community is so important to our everyday lives. And with all the things that we do, it's important to have people who truly care about you, who are going to help you, who are going to mentor you, who are going to guide you, who are going to keep you sane sometimes, because there's a lot of things that happen. And when you don't have other people, that can cause for you to just want to that can cause you to feel lonely. That can cause you to feel helpless. It can cause you to look at the world in a negative light and think that nobody's here for you and nobody cares about you. And that's not true. And the enemy wants you to think that you're all by yourself, you're alone, nobody likes you, the world is out to get you, anything that you say will be used against you. The enemy is an accuser. So, when it says, he seeks people and he seeks whom he will desire, when it says in the Bible that the enemy goes around like a roaring lion seeking whom he may desire, that's what the enemy does to people who are by themselves, who choose to isolate. He really goes after those people so that he can surround them with all the pleasures of the world, the drinking, the sex, the toxic relationships, the smoking, the negative language, music, movies, just all this negative stuff. And he suffocates them, like he's choking them with all of this, to where that person doesn't want to be around anybody. And then, what that person does? They start seeking after the one who is giving them that temporary feeling of relief, which is the enemy. And the enemy wants for that person to keep coming back to him. So because somebody gets those temporary releases of the enemy's tricks and his snares and the things that he gives them, they're going to automatically be seeking after him and what he does. And so you see people get deeper and deeper and deeper into sin. So you start seeing them just change their whole entire faith value system and morals and their religion, and you see them completely change to a different person because they're not seeking God. They're seeking things of the world. They're seeking what the enemy wants them to seek after, and they're seeking what he wants, what he has, because he has a hold over them, a snare. It can be really, really frustrating when you see somebody who goes through that. And I know personally, from personal experience, that's a horrible feeling to see somebody and you seeing them in a great light. How talented, how special, how gifted they are, and you see how they start to go after the things of the enemy, and just the decline of just them being suffocated. You try to help them, you try to be there for them, but at the end of the day, they go down that path. They go on that journey, and you can't be on that journey with them. And for me, I've had to separate myself from certain people like that, because when you're close to somebody and they start affecting you in a negative way, there needs to be a level of separation. And that's when you have to ask God for guidance through that, because it's really tough to deal with isolation and separation at the same time. It's tough to deal with the fact that you can't be around everybody. You can't hang around everybody. But then on top of that, you don't want to isolate yourself and have no friends and, hang out with nobody. And so there's a balance that needs to happen where you can learn, how do I separate myself from the world, but also how do I make sure I don't isolate myself from everybody? And I feel like sometimes we get on our spiritual walks and our journeys and we're getting closer to God. We want to be able to live like him and do right by him, that sometimes we're scared of even interacting outside of just church and singing and just the regular things that people do. And our life is meant to be lived abundantly. Our life is meant to be lived beyond, our circumstances. So it's something that you have to ask God about when it comes to how can I live a life that is full of love, laughter, joy, community, without suffering, by relationships, and we have to ask God for that guidance, because it's not going to come from our own knowledge. You could listen to a lot of, videos, and you can read a lot of books about, dealing with relationships and how to deal with people. But the person that God's the only one who knows the complexity of a person, of their mind, of how they talk, about how they think. And so he will allow for you to be able to learn through the Holy Spirit what you need to know about dealing with the relationships that you have in your life. And it's a day-to-day thing, because people change, people's attitudes, they might not always be the same way every other day. And so knowing how to maneuver, knowing how to dodge some things, knowing how to not take something so personal, knowing how to even withhold from saying certain stuff, or when to say certain stuff, is so important. And you are going to be able to get that from reading certain articles, but you need to ask the Holy Spirit to give you the wisdom and the discernment and the knowledge to be able to understand how to handle people, because we have to handle people. We have to interact with people every single day. Anywhere we go, we have to interact with people and handle people. And it can be so frustrating, because people are frustrating. We are very frustrating. We do frustrating things. We're very irritating, because we wake up every day, and a lot of us wake up in fear. A lot of us wake up with a negative mindset. A lot of us wake up not knowing how the bills are going to be paid. A lot of us wake up with financial struggles, and then you're interacting with other people, and all of this stuff is just mixing in job-related places, in your homes, and it causes friction. And the enemy loves friction, because he likes to wiggle his way into it and try to cause chaos. And there's nothing wrong with friction. Friction can be used in a great way. But when the friction happens, how do we make sure that it doesn't turn to chaos? That's when we need the Holy Spirit. That's when we need to ask God for wisdom and knowledge. And the root of wisdom and knowledge and understanding is the fear of the Lord. So if you want to have it, you got to ask God number one, for it. But then you have to have a fear of the Lord. You have to respect him. It needs to be a reverence to him. Solomon, he asked God for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. He asked God for it. And he got way more than that. But he knew he needed it to lead, to lead the nation that he was leading. He knew he needed that to be king. He needed wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And so he asked for it. And I just feel like we need to just be asking God what we need. Ask God what you want. Tell him what you want. I posted a video the other day, and I talked about asking God, telling God how you feel. I talked about asking questions. And so I'm saying again, this is a question you can ask God. Ask him for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, just like Solomon did, because you're going to need it in this world. To deal with people, you're going to need it. And when we try to deal with people on our own strength and our own power, we're petty. We are shady. We will not let anything slide. We don't like to get slighted. And so we will make sure that nobody can cross us. We don't have the forgiveness that we should have. We hold things in until we explode sometimes. Sometimes we don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to set boundaries. All of this is having a heart posture that is rooted in Jesus Christ. And it's also having the fruits of the Spirit being grown within us. Being meek, being long-suffering, being kind. The fruits of the Spirit that are within us are so important. And we all have seeds. We all have seeds in us. We all have seeds in us for greatness, for God's glory to be planted within us. We have seeds. But How do those seeds get sprouted? How do those seeds grow? It's through daily ingesting material that is going to edify your spirit, seeking after God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. That means reading your word every day. That means listening to music that will edify your spirit. That means watching videos that are going to motivate you and encourage your spirit, because your spirit needs to be encouraged. Your soul needs to be encouraged every single day, because people will not tell you in your day-to-day life, who you see every day, the things that you need to hear. But there are sources that can give you that instant gratification of encouragement. So take a hold of it. Take a hold of the encouragement that you will need. Yeah, I watch YouTube videos to help me. I listen to music. I take a hold of that instant gratification. And so we look at instant gratification as a bad thing because, we just expect and we're entitled to certain things just like that. But I'm saying right now, use instant gratification for your good. That means seek after things that it will encourage you, that will uplift you, instead of seeking after things that, you could just watch and you can just do on your free time. So I'm not saying just be on TikTok, just doing anything. If you're on TikTok, follow some creators and people who speak about healthy topics, who speak about God, who study their word and who want to share that with the world, and on YouTube and on Instagram. Make sure that you are actively looking for music that has your taste range in mind, that will make you feel good, because there's so many forces trying to keep us low, keep our mindset low, keep us operating on a low vibe and frequency. And those forces are demonic, out of our control. We can't even see everything that's going on, but we can feel it. We can feel when we're not feeling our best. We can feel when we're struggling. We can feel when we are in fear. Use your feelings as an indicator that it's time for you to seek God. Use your feelings and your emotions as an indicator that you need more of what God has said in His word. Use your feelings and your emotions as a way for you to connect with what the word says about them, about anger, about grief, about sadness, about friendship, about love. Everything is connected. We are connected to this word. So when we don't read it, when we decide to close it and take it off, you know what happens? We slowly lack meaning. We slowly lose hope. And we're like walking zombies. The Walking Dead. This gives us life. This gives us life. A lot that is in here is so important to our mental health. And mental health is a topic that is very broad, because there are doctors who are specialized in this. And I believe God uses the doctors and He uses everybody to help who needs to be helped. So I'm not negating that we shouldn't have doctors and we shouldn't use those practices, but I'm saying that a lot of the struggles that people go through mentally have already been addressed in here. So what I'm saying is, do yourself the favor and study it. Show yourself approved. Do what other people aren't going to do, because God is the one who's going to use you. And you might be looking around saying, well, use them. He's looking at you. He's talking about you. He wants to use you. So be used and do it. All right, y'all. That is all I got. I will see you on my next video. Bye.